Is there a difference in a girl's body count versus a guy's body count?
Yeah, because I was watching one of your podcasts before and I saw it got brought up, so I... Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think it's different.
You don't think it's different? Okay.
What does everybody else think?
I agree. It's not different.
I think it's different.
I think it's different, but I think it's different. That's it.
Based.
I don't think it's different.
I don't think it's different, but I want your opinion on this.
Yeah, I want to see what you have to say.
Me and my hot takes here.
Sure.
And when we say it's different, like, what do you guys mean? Are you saying that that it's both fine for men and women to have a high body count, or it's equally undesirable for men and women to have high body counts? What are we saying here when we say it's not different or it is different?
Well, usually people are like, girls with high body counts, like, ew, and then if guy has a high body count,
sure,
it's fine.
Okay.
Because he's a guy and
Why
it's
is
a different
that?
anatomy, I guess.
Why do people say that?
I don't know. I'm trying to get your guys.
People say that because girls, I guess, get worn out or stretched out or whatever the fuck people say, and that it goes inside and that guys don't. So it's just more okay for guys to have a higher body count. But why? You said it's different. So I want to know why it's different.
I think it's different, and it goes down to the key in the lock theory. You know the key in the lock theory?
But I heard this in middle school.
Yeah, and it's prevalent.
Middle school.
It's prevalent. You got a key. You got a key to your front door. It only opens the front door, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good key. If you got a key that opens up a lot of different doors, I might be butchering it right now. That's a skeleton key.
Yeah, you could do
I
it,
think
right?
I don't use this analogy very frequently because I feel like people aren't really receptive to it. But essentially, a lock that can be opened by many keys is a shitty lock, but a key that can open many locks is a master key. That's the analogy. I don't think it's not very convincing to people that on the other side, so I usually avoid using it. But there is certainly some truth to it. So there's a couple different things, right? I think generally speaking, and I don't know if a woman doesn't want to date a guy with a high body count, that's totally fine. So it's not, for me, I don't have a double standard here, but I do think it happens to be the case that generally speaking, men care about this more than women do. Men are more attracted to women who are non-promiscuous, especially for long-term relationships. Men have a much more vested interest in this. There's a bunch of practical and intellectual reasons I can give you, but the primary thing is that I believe it comes down to evolutionary psychology. There's something called paternity certainty, paternity uncertainty. So if a woman sleeps with a bunch of men and she gets pregnant, actually here, I'll change it up. If a woman has 10 husbands and they're all sleeping with her, you don't, at the same time, and she gets pregnant, there's no way for the men to know who the father is. Now, of course, in the past, keep in mind, I'm making this argument from an evolutionary perspective. Obviously, starting, I believe, in the 1960s, we started doing, or was it 80s? In any case, we have DNA testing today. That's something fairly new within the past 40, 50, 60 years. This new invention of ours that we can test for DNA does not undo hundreds of thousands of years of evolution in our psychology. So, whereas if you compare a woman who has 10 husbands and she's sleeping with all of them, you don't know who the father is. A man who has 10 wives, you know who the father is and the mother is in all those scenarios. So that's basically what it comes down to. Men have an evolutionary basis for having a stronger interest in a woman who is non-promiscuous, who is not sleeping with other men. So that's primarily why I think men care more about it.
I can see
also,
that.
and the other argument is it's much easier for women to get laid than it is for men to get laid. So something that is easy typically does not garner respect, whereas it's like for a guy to get laid, it's harder. So other guys will put a little, like if you're a guy and you can just get a bunch of women, that maybe says something about your riz or your charisma or your game, or you're high status in some way. Whereas any woman, like an average woman, even a below average woman, it's very easy for them to get laid. Whereas for men, like a below average man, that's rather difficult for him to get laid. So pretty much any woman, if she was so inclined, how do I frame this? Any woman, if she wanted to, could be a slut. Any woman. Not any man can be a slut. Not any man can be a stud. I guess that's the other term, but
Facts.
Okay.
Any woman could be a slut.
I don't really get how that.
I agree.
Yeah,
You
I
don't get
how
which
the-
one?
I don't-
How
with
can
the
not
evolutionary
any man not be a slut?
Because
I
girls
think.
are more
Really?
selective than guys. So, like, a guy will have to be super attractive or have a lot of things going for him in order for a lot of women to want to sleep with him. Like, in general. So, like, the guys that tend to get a lot of women, usually they're probably at least they're an 8 or above. Or maybe a 6 or 7 with some great riz and all that, you know, or they have very well-paying jobs, or they have something. They have to have these other factors. Whereas, you know, a guy who is a 9 or a 10 will sleep with a woman who's like a 6, and it's not a problem. Whereas a woman who's a 9 or a 10 will very most likely not sleep with a 6.
I think it says more about the men that are willing to sleep with any woman, though, than it says about the women, right?
But
Hold on. So it says more about the men who are willing to sleep with any.
But okay, do you disagree? I think you were saying that you think it's just as easy for men to get laid as it is for women to get laid.
Yes.
Nick, put it on her, please.
I'm sorry, I was reading the chat.
Yes, I was. Just in my opinion, a girl can go, you know, if they want to fuck whoever they want to, they can do it.
Same with the guy?
Same with a guy. I mean, it just has to go for the standards that they're going for. Like you said, a guy can fuck a 6 or a 4 or whatever. They just have to go for that type of person, and they could have just as high as a body count as a girl. They could be just as much as a slut as a girl. It just depends on who they're going for.
Is the girl going to say yes?
Is the guy going to say yes? If I go up to any guy and say, oh, I want to fuck, is he going to say yes for sure? That's not,
Yes.
that is not true. Not every girl gets every guy to say yes. Not every guy gets every girl to say yes. It's
At a much
both
higher
playing
rate.
fields.
At a much higher rate.
Depends on who you're going for.
No, not really. Like, we had a woman on here who was like overweight, not particularly attractive, and she was like, yeah, I fucked 5 dudes in a day. Like,
Exactly.
For
that
a
one
guy,
dude could have fucked 5 women that looked
that's
like
not,
her
no,
in a day.
that's not how it works.
It could have worked. Why not? Why is that not how it works?
Are you really this oblivious
No,
to
but
the
that
differences
guy
between men
could
and
have
women?
fucked
Which guy?
5.
Which
one
guy?
of the guys that fucked that woman. The
do
5
they look
guys.
like?
I'm
that
talking
fucked
about
her.
her looks equivalent.
Okay. Exactly.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm not even gonna play so much on that. An average woman has the equivalent sexual optionality as a A-list celebrity. So professional athlete, actor, musician. An average woman. Just pull any girl from Santa Barbara City College, UCSB. If she wanted to, she could fuck a new guy every single day of the week. Can you genuinely sit here and say that you think if I could just pull like an average guy from Santa Barbara City College or UCSB, that he could fuck a new girl every single day of the week? Really?
If he goes for the right girls, I feel like he could. Not every single
So you're saying
guy.
if he goes for women who are less attractive than him,
if he like sections out women that are more his type or that he is more their type, yes. I'm not saying it's every single guy, but it's also not every single woman could find a dude to
So you
fuck
think
every
any
single
guy
day.
could be a slut?
Yeah.
It's because the statement I made was any woman, if she wanted to, I'm not
Yeah.
saying they're inclined to, but if they wanted to, could be a slut. But I don't think any guy, if he wanted to, could be a slut.
I disagree.
Boy, okay.
I feel like everybody. can be
Are you
a
familiar
slut.
with the term incel?
No.
You've never heard the term incel?
I mean, I think I've heard it, but I don't know what it means.
You got to speak.
I think I've heard it, but I don't know what it
So
means.
someone who's involuntarily celibate. These are typically men.
Okay.
Like they try, but they just cannot. You don't have any guy friends who like struggle with women?
A lot of people struggle with women, and a lot of women struggle with men.
No, but
Like-
strictly speaking, getting laid. Most women do not struggle when it comes to getting laid. You have that on lock. Women do struggle when it comes to dating and relationships and having long-term relationships. Sure. I think both men and women struggle when it comes to dating, but if we're talking about purely just getting laid, just having sex, you think it's just 50, like totally equivalent?
Maybe it's not totally equivalent. I'm just saying men can be sluts just as much as women can be sluts.
Sure, but that's not what I was saying. I was saying that any woman could be a slut. Not any man can be a slut. Okay, let's set our definitions, right? Let's say the definition of being a slut is sleeping with a new guy every single day, or a new person every single day of the week. I think most women, if they're on a dating app, could probably do that. I would say most men probably can't do that.
I agree with that. But I'm just saying
So what are we
that
arguing about here? Okay.
we don't have to argue. I'm just saying that you said that any woman could be a slut and
Yes.
not any man that can be a slut.
Yes.
But if it's with a dating app, yeah. If a woman wants to go, because women normally are the ones who like start sex and are like, okay, yes, I want to do this.
Women start sex?
Or they're the ones, whatever the fucking
Control.
word is. I don't-
They have the control.
Sex. Thank you.
Bingo.
But I'm just saying, they're the ones who normally control it. So yes, if a woman's on a dating app and she gets with this guy, she's going to be the one that's going to be like yes or no most times. And so with the dating app, it's different. But I'm just saying that I feel like any woman has just as much any chance to be a slut as a guy or whatever.
I think she's saying believe in yourself.
Yes, thank you.
I think she just
You
proved
can do
Brian
it.
right.
You can.
I
Maybe.
think you guys kind of agree, but like,
I'm not like trying to fight you on it. I'm just saying that I think everybody could be a slut and they all have equal opportunity to be a slut.
Well, then you're just totally oblivious to the difficulty with which most men have when it comes to getting laid. Maybe you're just only looking at the top percentage of men that have it a little bit easier when it comes to getting laid, but I think you're really underestimating the degree of sexual optionality that women have. And I'll repeat it again, an average woman's sexual optionality, like if we're trying to do comparisons here, an average woman has the equivalent sexual optionality as a male celebrity. So a professional athlete, a musician, an actor, like A-list celebrity. These are men who are of such a high status that they have that degree of sexual access. But most men are like an average man, average guy, the guy you see when you walk into CVS who's working behind the cash register. He's not running through chicks. He doesn't even have the capacity to do that, even if he was really trying hard.